Hey, what's going on, Ernie? It's your pal Terry Bean coming at you with another fun, exciting episode of Business Growth Time. Today, we have accounting master Danielle Hayden. She promises that she's going to make numbers fun. I can't wait to see how she does that. But before we get into her, let me introduce the one, the only, Janet E. Johnson, where today the E stands for Every Day, which is a song by one of my favorite bands, Dave Matthews Band. So getting a little Dave Matthews Band vibe going right now. So I don't know why or how, but that's
I
how
don't know either.
sometimes.
I love it.
I don't either. That's great. That's
Either
great.
one of you
Every
listen to them?
I've been to their concert once back in the day, years.
I like their older stuff.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Crash was one of the best albums ever recorded. So
Yes.
I'm there. All right, Janet, introduce our new friend Danielle.
Yeah, for sure. So Danielle Hayden, she is a reformed corporate CFO. So she was chief financial officer who's on a mission to help rule-breaking female entrepreneurs understand their numbers so they can gain the confidence needed to create sustainable profits. Super important. I agree. After spending 10 plus years in the boardroom as a corporate financial officer, Danielle is now in her sweet spot as the co-owner of Kickstart Accounting, Inc., where she helps business owners with bookkeeping, financial analysis, and education. And as the author of the Profit Planner book series, when Danielle isn't crunching numbers on her client's behalf or crafting the next iteration of the Profit Planner, you can find her hanging with her two kids as she inspires them to lead their fullest lives or doing any. And almost every fitness-related activity ranging from Spartan races to Pilates. Awesome. Well, welcome. That's
Thank
great.
you so much.
And I bet you're with your kids a little more right now, too.
Oh, yeah. This is a great time. We're loving it. So much family time.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's great.
Maybe a little too much.
Actually, I was telling my 14-year-old, I said, is it possible I actually feel like I'm spending less time with you because she's going to bed later and sleeping in later, and so I hardly see her.
Mine's 15 too, and he's just been stuck in his room playing the video games and this much homework. Yeah.
I sent an email to myself at midnight, just kind of a journal note to self about the day. And in it, I wrote, make sure you spend some time with your kid. I spent like 3 minutes with her yesterday. We didn't even eat dinner together. I was like, come on, it's crazy. We're all here in the house, but no, anyway.
Doing our own things.
Totally. Well, that's awesome. Well, and I love that you're fitness too, because we love our fitness. So that's awesome. So tell us about this, why you transitioned it from the corporate, safe, supposed, position to taking it off on your own.
Yeah, absolutely. I challenge everyone who calls that safe. I just, I had a friend of mine who just got laid off from her position. She had been there for over 10 years and economy downturns and she's let go. So she had no control over that. So for anyone who's still thinking that is air quotes safe in the back of their mind, I challenge you. But number two, more importantly, I was working at a mid-sized company. It was about $20 million in revenue, and I was doing some work within the community, and I was meeting all these entrepreneurs, and I noticed that they were struggling with the same thing over and over again. Cash management, how and when to buy inventory, how to price their services, how to understand their financials so that they're making business decisions that make sense. And I said, this is unfortunate. We have an opportunity here to change the economy. We have the opportunity to empower small businesses so that they can succeed. And every business owner needs the same information that I was giving to my CEO as a CFO. And so if I could give every entrepreneur that piece of information and that knowledge, imagine the business decisions that they can make that can now empower them and they can finally grow their businesses. So this is purely a mission of empowerment for business owners.
Very cool. I love the concept of the profit planner. So tell us about that, because I'm intrigued when I read your bio.
Yeah. So I wrote our signature framework, really just put our entire framework pen to paper to make it available for every entrepreneur out there. And in this framework, we believe that accounting doesn't need to be so overwhelming, right? We think about this unknown black sea that we can't even really dip our toe into. And so the idea was, let's not make it this black sea. Let's break it down. Let's make this easier for entrepreneurs. And so every week we take a piece of the accounting and we break it down into a goal. We set about 2 to 4 pages of financial knowledge, give you some understanding and some background. And then we take that and we break it down even further. And we give you one action task per day. And each task builds on itself so that at the end of the week, you feel like you're empowered, right? You're building on momentum, and then every week it continues for each planner is a quarter.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah. So you're breaking it down. And my number one procrastination in life is accounting.
We hear it. Yeah, we hear it all the time. I mean, we all have our sweet spot.
You're not alone.
Yeah. Well, we all have our sweet. Like for me, I don't want to do anything in marketing. So we all have our thing.
Yeah.
Well, they're completely opposite sides of the brain, right? So the fact that you're bringing this much energy and communicate as effectively as you do and can do the numbers, I'm like, she's kind of a dynamo, right? You're unique in that space, right? You're relatable.
True.
It's unknown. Yeah. So this whole idea is kind of the same thing with fitness, right? When people start a new program, it feels so daunting, but if they can go for a walk today, right, and then walk a little bit longer tomorrow, maybe finally they jog a little bit. So same premise, right? So if we could just get some action going, start to feel good, make accounting not feel so overwhelming, we might start to actually pay attention to the finances of our business.
It's an interesting idea, right? It's small steps, because it is. When you look at it from the whole of it, there's so many terms and so many ideas, and we keep hearing that the tax law book is, 8 feet tall and it gets revised every year. And I mean, just trying to keep all of that or any of it straight is like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go join Janet's 15-year-old and play video games. That sounds way better.
I like that.
So
Yeah.
I appreciate the tiny morsels, right? Little bites at a time. You're eating an elephant. So
Yeah.
that's a great plan. And you called it a framework. So this is what did you develop this and you've been using this from your CFO days, and you just said, hey, we'll use this for individual entrepreneurs?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you asked that. So exactly. This is the framework that I used as a CFO. I had several different tools that I used to manage my portion of the business, and then several different reports and tools that I used to give to my CEO. And I said, why doesn't every entrepreneur want to have the same information in their back pocket? And so a lot of the pieces within this framework are the same things that I was using there, but broken down, just in a simpler version, but just as useful. And then we were working with clients, doing their bookkeeping and hearing the questions over and over and over again for the last 6 years. And so we took all of their questions and all of our answers and put them together in a framework that will help an entrepreneur understand their numbers.
That's interesting. So with this, I bet I want to back up, kind of like you said, if you start walking, start an exercise program, you start seeing results, you want to do it more. Yeah. So I'm kind of assuming that's the way this is built. Like wait, I am profiting. Wait, now that I'm paying attention, I know that I maybe need to raise my prices X amount of dollars in order to profit better, that kind of thing. Because, Terry and I've had the conversation, you kind of make up your prices as an entrepreneur, I mean,
you sure do.
And you go, I mean, obviously we know, we're like, oh, that sounds good. Okay, let's put that out there, So it's one of those things where, now you're making more of you have a method behind it and a plan.
Yeah. Or think about how you spend money, right? So if I'm setting goals as an entrepreneur, we had a client last year who her goal was, I am going to bring in as much top line revenue as I possibly can. And so as we send her financials throughout the year, and we kept on saying, you're spending a lot of money in conferences and advertising and in-person events and hosting events, we were able to say, yeah, it makes sense for us to be spending that much money. My goal is to bring in revenue. And so as you're tracking your goal to your actual progress throughout the year, you could feel really freaking empowered because you know the money you're spending is actually doing what you wanted it to do. If you weren't tracking that, you could just say, holy crap, I'm just spending a ton of money and I don't know if it's working or not. And then if your goal is to be really profitable, cut those expenses. Now it's time to make the cuts. Is it having an impact? Are those cuts doing what I want it to do?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's amazing when you can actually see it kind of laid out in a linear fashion as opposed to, using your best guess, which may not be very good at all. That makes a ton of sense. Hey, Janet, go back to her intro in terms of who she does work for, because I'm feeling a tad bit left out. I just want to make sure I heard that properly.
Oh, female entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I thought I heard something about that. What's up with that?
Terry, we have a ton of male clients that work with us, and so you're not left out.
Okay.
We just we have.
You could be one of the girls. That's fine.
I have been forever. Go on.
One of the things that we really tried to create at our firm was a sense of not just belonging, but a place where you can go and not feel shameful, right? There's a lot of money mindset issues. There's a lot of, I feel guilty not knowing this. I feel shameful by asking this question. And so we've really tried to create an environment, and I think we've really succeeded in this, and where clients feel like just a big hug around them, right? My staff is not going to judge you. We had one client who said to us, okay, I go to Dunkin' Donuts like a lot, and that's okay. We're not going to judge you. Or I don't understand this. Please explain it to me. And we have found that a lot of women entrepreneurs feel really shameful in having those questions. And so having another female to come in and ask those questions to, rather than having to go to your father's accountant who you feel is, might be belittling you, or you feel too small or not big enough or not worthy, and going to ask those questions too. So
a little too much mansplaining and the numbers gets old.
Yeah.
Can imagine. That's interesting because you mentioned a couple of things that really resonated with me, right? There's the messed up money mindset. That's a challenge for a lot of people.
Big one. Mm-hmm.
And then just the whole, again, the gamut of what you don't know. Like, I'm almost at this point recognizing that I'm intentionally ignorant about accounting and finances based on the fact that I went through, a master's degree and managed to avoid anything that looked like an accounting or a finance class. Right. And I think there's probably a lot of folks that are similar, like, no, hard flipping, no, not doing it. So that's cool that you figured out a way to empower those folks. And I think they need it. So if you have challenges or dislike the marketing, how do you get the word out? How does your business grow?
I hire people to work with me.
Nice.
So one of the things that I found as an entrepreneur is I can't do it all. I really tried our first few years. I wanted to be the marketing person. I wanted my voice to it. I wanted to be the person serving all the clients. I wanted to be the person speaking about the business. I wanted to be sales. I wanted to do the work. I wanted to do everything. And you learn real fast that that's a quick way to burn out. So I hired a team. I have a team of bookkeepers who they go through a training program. I train them, and then I empower them to work with our clients. And now they get to be the face, and it's so rewarding to have them there. I know that I can't do the marketing piece, and so I hired a team of experts who can do that. I even hired people who can help us with our bookkeeping and can help me so that I get to just review the reports and not get stuck in the weeds. And so I encourage every entrepreneur to evaluate, what's my strength, right? What do I enjoy doing? And what are the things that are getting put to my to-do list next week, right? It stays on my to-do list, and then I just convert it to next week. Stays on my
bookkeeping.
Right.
But I don't do my own. So like you said, I finally, like years ago, said, absolutely, I've got to not do this anymore. You know, it's one of those things, like you said, it's just not my wheelhouse. I can do it. I'm actually really good with numbers. I excelled in math in high school and stuff. But I do one thing I do though every month, and I think every company should do this, is I write down, I do mine in Trello. So I'm a Trello person, whatever. But I just put all my clients and I do the profit and loss, so I know exactly what I made every single month. But you know, it's just, you know, it's a profit and loss. I know my expenses. That's a big thing. And to me, the more money I make, the more expenses I will have, because the more people I want to hire.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you realize that. And so one of the things that we look at with clients when we send them their financials every month is, we want you to continue to grow your expenses with your revenue. We just want to make sure your expenses are outgrowing your revenue, right? Or if they are,
Right.
Is that intentional? And how long are we going to do that for?
That
right?
makes sense. Yep. That makes
And I love that
sense.
you mentioned Trello. So I always tell people, pick a system that works for you. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's QuickBooks, if it's Excel, however you can monitor if you're profitable, just make sure that you're doing it, or you have a bookkeeper who's doing it, sending you the information. But don't just disregard the email that your bookkeeper's sending you. You have to actually open it and look at it. So if you have a bookkeeper,
not like an introduction to a podcast guest. It's something you have to read. I got you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now you hire. So for the people, let's say they're like, oh, you know what? I've been wanting to hire a bookkeeper forever. So you have your own bookkeepers. Are they QuickBooks? Because I'm a QuickBooks for bookkeeping. So is it QuickBooks typically, or what do you recommend? I mean, what's your team do?
Yeah, we use QuickBooks Online for all of our clients.
Yeah.
So no matter what you use for your billing software, so we have some clients who use FreshBooks, Stripe, Square, Shopify, whatever it is, we'll take your point of sale system, so however you're collecting payments from your clients, and then we'll take all of your credit cards and your loans and all of your other systems that you're using to spend money, and we pull all of those into QuickBooks, and then that's how we manage everything.
Got it.
We just named the show Managing Your Money. Good. Okay.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, thanks. I always just say to him afterwards, what should we name that one?
What do we call it? What do we call it? That's that.
So I have a next layer question.
Okay.
Payroll, my least favorite thing to do, because I have contractors, but I am my own employee. And I've always felt like, why would I hire another company to do my payroll as one person? You know, but do you guys handle payroll, and what's your recommendation with payroll if people are doing payroll, or when? And the other thing is, like, adding to that, when should you move from an LLC to an S Corp? Because I learned that the hard way.
Yeah, that's a loaded question. Okay, so
it was a lot of questions. Yes.
Let's go one at a time. Okay, when should you move from an LLC to an S Corp? When you are consistently paying yourself. So if you are doing a regular transfer from your business account to your personal checking account, it's time to put yourself as an S Corp and put yourself on payroll. If you're doing it, you know, every 3 months, or you're not consistent, you can most likely stay in LLC. But if you are consistently paying yourself, then it's usually time to move to an S Corp. Of course, talk to your tax accountant. They know your personal situation. You might have a personal situation that changes a piece of that. But generally speaking, that's a good time to make that conversion. When you move to payroll, there's a few things to think about. So we actually use a system called Gusto for all of our our clients. And Gusto's fabulous because they're really inexpensive and they're a pretty easy self-serve model. They sync with a lot of time tracking systems. So if you have your contractors tracking their time in T-sheets could automatically send the time over to Gusto and then pay your contractors. So if you have more than 2 contractors, I would say get involved with the payroll system, because what's really cool at the end of the year, Gusto will send the 1099s to your contractors. Or if a contractor says, how much have you paid me this year? They can log on and look at it themselves.
Okay, got it. Yep,
Yeah.
that's cool. Yep.
Yeah, so it's a great system. We do handle payroll for our clients. And so if you are somebody who says, look, I got 5 contractors, they all submit hours to me once a week, every 2 weeks, I don't want to have to enter them. How do I get this off my plate? That's when you could ask your bookkeeper, can you process payroll for me, so that I'm not actually handling that function. My team can send the time and then your bookkeeper can submit the time for you.
Very good. Yeah, that's lots of great information. Yeah, for sure.
If you're not using Gusto and you're using QuickBooks or you're using a CPA, evaluate your fees. QuickBooks does have a system. Just make sure that you have selected the system that will pay the taxes on your behalf. You don't want to have to do that. And if you're using your CPA to handle your payroll, I highly advise you to price shop that and see if Gusto or QuickBooks could be a better solution for you.
Interesting. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure the CPA is probably a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. So Terry, I know you have questions. Come on, throw out the questions.
I don't ask questions about anything that has to do with numbers. I give them to somebody and say, you worry about this and I don't want to. So that being said, how do we fix that part, right? How do you get a reluctant numbers person? And like Janet, I excelled in math, right? But I like you put a $ in front of it and I'm like, I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah.
So how do you help someone like realize just the importance of knowing what the numbers of the business are? How do you flip that switch?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we hear it all the time. We have a ton of clients who want nothing to do with it, right? So that's usually why they come and hire us. There's somebody who says, gosh, I do not want to do this. I know it's falling behind. Let me hand this off to somebody. And what I always say to people, don't hire us just so you can file your taxes at the end of the year. Yes, that's important. But what's more important is for you to be able to make business decisions all year based on those financials. And so we had a really cool client who came to us last year, and it was towards the end of the year. It was like November. And she said, hey, Danielle, I need you to teach me how to operate my business at a loss. And I said, okay, well, let's pull all your transactions in for the year and let's see where you're at in November year to date. So that was step 1. We did what we call a catch up. We get all the numbers in the system, and I had to call her and I said, what are you talking about, a loss? You made like $30,000 this year in profit. And now the poor girl has to figure out how to pay taxes on $30,000 in 3 months. So if you can't, so what we do with our clients on a continual basis, either monthly or quarterly, we get the financial statements in front of them in an email. And then we say, all right, if you never open up the big, hairy Excel file, we're going to give you a few key pieces of information right in that email. So at least open the email. And then if you don't open the email, we'll even send you a video. We're using Loom videos with our clients where we just walk you through it. We say, hey, here's how your business is doing. Here's where you're spending money. It feels a little easier when someone's walking you through it. Or let's jump on a Zoom call and let's have a conversation, right? So let's just talk through it. So for the people who are most reluctant, find a bookkeeper, find an accountant who you actually like, right? So if you like them personally and you can have a conversation with them, then they're probably going to be a good fit to help you understand what's working and not working in your business. And you won't be so reluctant to have a conversation with them.
Love it. That's perfect advice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I always say your numbers are trying to tell you a story. You have to listen to the story that that's telling you. And so if you can find a bookkeeper who you actually want to have a conversation with, and you can start to dissect the story, you can really transform where you're going with your business and spend appropriately. So if that client would have been operating at a loss, I would have said, let's halt spending, right? Like maybe let's not go to that conference in December. But thankfully we were able to tell her that she made this huge profit. And so December, she took a week off. She went to California, went to this conference that she was dying to go to, signed up for another conference in February, but she wouldn't have done any of those things had she not known that she was profitable.
That's amazing. That makes total sense though, especially if you're not thinking about it and not paying attention to it, right? Like it's funny, before we hopped on this, I was looking at the emails and it was, this Comcast bill got paid, Consumers Energy got paid, whatever else got paid. And I'm like, oh, well, that's cool. I abdicated anything to do with household bills to my wife forever ago because it turns out you should pay that shit on time. And they like that. So figured, well, let's give it to the person who's more likely to do that because it's like, I'll get to it. Maybe, I think.
Wow, business and personal for you, huh?
Yeah, I actually, it's so funny, and I don't know where it is, and I should go find it, but I got dissected on a podcast by somebody who talks about money issues, right? This guy's whole thing is, what's your money story? What's holding you back? And he's like, you want to be a guest? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I didn't know what we were getting into, but we went super deep, and, I basically ended up crying on the podcast. It's not really true, but might as well have. He laid me out on the couch, and we went straight psychotherapy, and, damn it, Dad, why did you have to have me ask for the child support money every week? No. So, it was crazy.
But that's where it comes from. Think about your parents' spending habits, right? If your parents were big spenders and you watch them go through a struggle at some point in your life, you might want to hoard all your money now because you don't want to go through that struggle or even previous investments. So maybe you went into a business previously and you were burned, or the economy downturn, or your business partner screwed you over, and now you're hoarding cash because you're afraid. I think it's, we got to recognize that what's happened to us or what our parents' spending habits are. And I know for me, my parents love to spend money. They love to vacation every year, and they're big spenders. And for me, it's harder for me to spend money because I watch them spend money for so long. I'm like, oh, wait, I think I should have more savings. I think I need more savings.
That brings up a good point of the times today. So let's talk about a little bit about what's your recommendation for people, especially with businesses with the COVID-19 thing happening, because that has been a big shift for everybody, entrepreneurs, whatever, big businesses, everybody. I mean,
everybody.
Yeah, everybody. So what have you been telling people with in terms of the accounting side of things and that?
Yeah, I think there's a few things. If there's any way for your business to pivot online, do it. Don't be so reluctant. This change can be a really good thing. For instance, I have a client who she lives in LA. I'm in Ohio. And I have been dying to send my son to her therapy business. They do behavioral therapy. And I said for years, I'm like, please, Steph, can you add virtual visits? And she kept on telling me how they don't work. The day that she shut down, she put every single one of her clients on Zoom calls. And there are kids who are flourishing. It's not only working, but for some people it's working better. And guess what? Her business grew. She has clients in Ohio, and so we're watching her escalate her business. So think about things that you thought would never work. Take out your preconceived notions out of the picture and figure out how you could pivot. Launch a course. I had somebody yesterday who told me she was a doula, and she launched a course for other doulas on how to take that virtual.
What's a doula?
Helps you when you're having a baby.
Oh, thank you.
Support while you're having a baby. So how
Just
can
talking
you?
girl talk, Terry.
Sorry,
Wait.
sorry, Terry. I'm leaving you out again.
I'm like, good Lord, man. This is, it's not separate, not even equal. Come on.
Oh, that's so funny. But yeah, so how could you pivot, and then maybe you could even make money on teaching other people how to pivot. So I think that's super important. So that's one thing.
Good idea.
Two, do you have a savings, right? So when we preach to our clients, you should always have 3 to 6 months worth of savings in your checking account. You want to be able to pay you personally, your essential bills, and your contractors so that they can keep on working. So it's a good time to reevaluate. Did I have enough saved? All right. And how can I prepare for this and prepare for anything in the future? And for anybody who did have to shut down, so maybe you're somebody who you cannot go online. You absolutely must be in front of them. We have a few clients who hair salon owners and things like that, massage therapists. It's a really good time to take a step back, think about what is the thing that you've been dying to get done. Did you set a budget this year? Maybe it's time to set a budget. Maybe we need to put forth a marketing plan that we're going to launch the minute this ends. So what can we work on so that we're the most prepared the minute this ends?
Yeah.
I love that. I tell people all the time, if you don't come out of this better than when we went into it, you spent way too much time Netflixing and sleeping, right? You got work to do, right?
It's not
it's a great time to rebuild, rethink, regroup, and take some action.
Yeah, it's not, to me, this is not a Netflix and chill time. I've told everybody in my house, I tell my clients, this is not Netflix and chill. This is, let's get to work. If you're somebody who doesn't have a bookkeeper, maybe you grab like the Profit Planner or another business development book, and you read it and you figure out how you can implement it in your business. This is the best time that you can implement something because you don't have a million different things coming at you.
That's right, 100%. We're in Ohio.
I'm in Cleveland.
Cleveland. All right.
Yeah.
I'm up in Detroit, so we have a bit of an obligation to make fun of you, just so.
Of course we do.
Yes. In case you were wondering. But,
yes, we do.
Yeah. Good. All right. I lived in Columbus for a handful of years too, so that's mildly entertaining.
Oh, okay. Awesome. I love Columbus.
It's a cool town. Cleveland's too. Cleveland is.
Yeah, we've come a long way. We weren't so cool about 10 years ago, but we have a good waterfront, tons of restaurants and things to do, and I can't wait for everything to open back up.
Yeah, for sure. It's really nice right on the lake there. I like it. Yeah. I like it. Although it's funny because the flats were super hot in the mid to late 90s, and then but I don't know how that broke again. It just totally fell apart and then resurged again.
Yeah, it totally fell apart. Growing up, it was not a place you wanted to go at all. And now it's beautiful. Like when people come to Cleveland, they're like, what do we do? I'm like, I'm taking you downtown. There's tons of restaurants. It's right on the water. It's beautiful. We can go kayaking down there. And it's absolutely amazing. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Janet E. Johnson, do you have any other questions for
Well, let's get into an action step. You said a lot of action steps already. So we've got a lot of things going on. But like if somebody right now in the next 24 hours, they listen to this and in the next 24 hours, what is the top thing they should do if maybe let's just say there's somebody that really hasn't been paying attention to their numbers in their business. What would be the first thing they should do?
So talk to me is what she's saying.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think it depends on the stage of where we're at. So I'm just going to give a few.
Yeah.
So if you're somebody who maybe you're still commingling your business and your personal finances.
Ooh,
I want you can do this online. Go open up a separate checking account and separate your business and personal. All right. I have 2 credit cards that I carry around. They're both in my name, but one I use for business and one I use for personal. So if you're somebody who's still operating out of one account, that's one action step you could take today and then start implementing them. That way, if you hire a bookkeeper in the future or a tax accountant maybe at the end of the year, it'll be a lot easier for somebody to come in and help you if you have that separation. If you're somebody who you already have a business account, maybe you even have a QuickBooks profile, one action step today could just be go activate the bank feed in QuickBooks. So there, you can automatically bring in all of your transactions into QuickBooks by just activating that bank feed. So just activate it. If you are somebody who you have QuickBooks, you have a bookkeeper, you're ignoring the numbers, Terry, you're not opening their emails, you're avoiding their calls, go open their email. Go open their email and schedule a call with your bookkeeper. That way, or if you have the QuickBooks system and you open the file, just you could do one thing that can really soar you further today. So schedule that call. Have a phone conversation with that bookkeeper.
Love it. Love it. And how do people find you if they want to work with you because they might like you?
Yeah, I love that. Profitplannerbookkeeping.com is our website. You can schedule a call with me. We can talk about what systems you have going on, what you're avoiding, what you need help with. If you like the idea, maybe your business is shut down and you like the idea of being able to work on your business while you're shut down, you can also find the Profit Planner there as well. Or come hang out on social media, Danielle Hayden -OH. Come hang out, comment. We try to post some good, helpful hints for people. So ask some questions. I love to engage with people on Instagram and Facebook.
Awesome.
That's great.
Janet, how do the good people find us?
All right. We have all our past podcasts, businessgrowthtime.com/podcasts. And then we have our Facebook group, businessgrowthtime.xyz, takes you directly to the Facebook. And I love the idea of the Profit Planner. So what was your website again? One more time, Danielle, also?
Profitplannerbookkeeping.com.
Profitplannerbookkeeping.com. Perfect. I think a lot of people could definitely benefit from all of this. So thank you so much for your time, Danielle.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's been a pleasure.